Well, I would like to welcome you to another fabulous flipped math lesson from Rockin' More Math. And today, what we're going to be studying is greatest common factor. So, um, and our objectives for the day are at the end, you will be able to explain what a common factor is. And then also, you will be able to find the common factors for two or more numbers. But before we get into what a common factor is, I want you to remember what a factor is. And so factors are the numbers that you multiply to get a number. We've done a bunch of that. Like for the number 15, our factors are 1, 3, 5, and 15. 1 times 5 is 15, or 3 times 5 is 15. Or like for the number 36, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12, 18, and 36. These are all numbers that fit into the number 36, or you can multiply two of them in order to get the number 36. Those are the factors. And so as we get on to what common factors are, the common factors are just the factors for two or more numbers that are the same. So let's look at the number 12. The factors for the number 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. And the factors for the number 20 are 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. And so our common factors are what numbers or what factors do these two numbers share? Well, we can see the number 1 is in both of these. The number 2 is in both of these. 3 is not in them both, so it cannot be 3. We see 4 is in both of them. Oh, it's kind of a messed up circle right there. I'll move it over there. 4 is in both of them. Um, and then the rest of the numbers, 5, 10, and 20, or 6 and 12, are not common factors. So then when we look at total, the common factors for the numbers 12 and 20, or the factors that they have in common, are the numbers 1, 2, and 4. And when we talk about um, the greatest common factor or least common factor, if we look at our common factors for 12 and 20, 1, 2, and 4, the greatest common factor, otherwise the greatest factor, the highest number, is 4. So, because that's the biggest number, that's the biggest factor that they share. And the least common factor, which would just be the smallest one, the smallest number is 1. So, because it's a factor that they share in common, but it's the smallest one. And now I have just a fun way to think about it. If you look at Mr. Moore and Mr. Rockenstein, Mr. Rockenstein is 5 feet 3 inches tall, and Mr. Moore is 6 foot 3 inches tall. And so when you think about common factors, you could say, okay, here's Mr. Rockenstein. As he's growing, at some point he hit 3 feet. Could have been when he was, 2. Could have been when he was 3. Who knows? At some point, Mr. Moore hit 3 feet also in order to get to 6 feet. At some point, Mr. Rockenstein hit 4 feet in order to get to 5 feet 3. And at some point, Mr. Moore hit it. Doesn't matter when they hit it. At some point, they both went through 4 feet. And then, as they continue to grow, Mr. Rockenstein has stopped at that 5'3" point. And Mr. Moore, at some point, also was 5 feet 3. But now he's kept going and gone a little bit further. So when we think about it, some of our common factors for mine and Mr. Rockenstein's height are 5 feet, 4 feet, 3 feet. Those are all heights that we share in common. We both hit those numbers as we were going through. But our greatest common factor is 5 feet 3 because that's the only one. That's the top of where we could go. That's the biggest number that we both share. Mr. Moore's goes a little bit higher than 5 feet 3, but Mr. Rockenstein stops there, so that's our highest number. That's our greatest common factor. So just a reminder, common factors. Factors for two or more numbers that are the same. So again, we can look at an example like the number 100 here. We have a bunch of factors, 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, 20, 25, 50, 100. And the factors for the number 25, 1, 5, and 25. Well, which ones do they share in common? Well, we see 25 and 25. We see 5 and we see 5. And of course, we see 1 and we see 1. So our greatest common factors are 1, or our common factors are 1, 5, and 25. And if we talk about which is the greatest of these, well, the greatest would be 25. And then what's our least common factor? It's usually going to be the number 1. So hope you enjoyed this lesson and hope you have a great understanding of common factors, factors that are the same. And then we can ask for greatest common factors, least common factors, which factors you see the most of, if it's multiple numbers, all these things. Have a great one.